I'm Marianne, a licensed mental health counselor, and your host on the When Life's Unfair podcast. In this space, we will explore the notion of fairness, discovering how life's advantages can also have disadvantages. We will examine fairness and reveal how life's challenges can drive meaningful change. Join me for insightful discussions that can promote personal growth. Today, I want to talk about something we rarely slow down enough to do: get to know ourselves. And the reason this topic matters so much to me is because I didn't always know who I was either. It sounds so simple, but in a world that continually pulls us in 1,000 directions, truly understanding who you are takes intention, patience, and courage. For a long time, I just didn't know who I was. I knew my role: a mom, a wife, an employee, a friend. Somewhere along the way, those labels stopped describing my life and started defining my worth. And that's when the masks began. I learned how to smile when I was exhausted. I learned how to look strong when I was hurting. I learned how to quiet these parts of myself so that I could fit in, survive, meet expectations. Those masks, well, they worked for a little while, but they all came at a cost: stress, burnout, and a growing distance from my true self. There's a quote from Batman Begins that has always stayed with me. It's not who I am underneath, but what I do that defines me. That quote speaks to character and choice, but it also highlights something deeper. Our actions matter, yes, but when performance replaces identity, we lose ourselves. What feels especially unfair is that society often looks at labels before it looks at humanity, and it takes real strength to reach beyond what the world expects us to do and expects of us. When I finally started to take the masks off, I realized something important. I had never actually taken the time to truly know myself. That moment forced me to pause. And that pause, well, it changed everything. So, if you are feeling disconnected, my dear friends, from who you are, or overwhelmed, or unsure of just who you are right now, this is where I invite you to start. One of the most powerful ways to rediscover who you are is through self-reflection. And this doesn't require a dramatic life change, just small, honest moments with yourself. Write about your day. Journal. A lot of people don't like journaling and they say, it's not for me. But we can journal in many ways. We can draw, we can doodle, we can write, we can do bubbles. But journaling really helps unpeel that onion, so to speak, and get down deep. Just start by writing, like, what gave you energy? What drained you? What made you feel calm or fulfilled or frustrated? Once you start noticing patterns on paper, something else becomes clear. Your values start to reveal themselves. That curiosity naturally takes you backward to the version of you before the world told you who to be. I also took a look back at my younger self. I asked, what did I love as a child? What fascinated me? what felt natural. Often the truest parts of who we were were visible long before adulthood complicated things. I also practice mindfulness, even a few quiet minutes a day. Just quiet yourself. No fixing, no judging, no noticing your thoughts and emotions. Mindfulness creates a space, and in that space, clarity grows. But awareness alone isn't enough if your inner voice is still tearing you down. So I had to silence that critic. You know that voice, the one that says you're behind, you're not enough, you're stupid or late, and I could go on. I had that voice in my ears for a long time. That voice, it isn't your truth. Learning to challenge negative self-talk opens the door to self-compassion. And sometimes, even with all that work, we still miss parts of ourselves. And that's where you reach out. You reach out to people you trust, people that are safe, those that really, truly see you. Sometimes those people, well, they'll recognize strengths and qualities in us that we've just learned to overlook. Reflection helps us understand ourselves, but it's the action and the practice that helps us to remember who we are. And it's very insightful and powerful, and it transforms what happens. So we have to do something different. We try something unfamiliar without pressure to be good at it. I mean, I paint, and my painting's always a Picasso, but I do it. I explore with different things, and often it reveals passions that you don't know are there. This part isn't about doing more. It's about doing what aligns with who you are. Get creative. Write, paint, sketch, take a class. Creativity isn't about perfection. It's about expression and discovery. And I had to really prioritize my happiness. I had to make room for what brings me joy. Reading, exercising, cooking, being in nature is really one of my favorite things. Choosing yourself, like choosing myself, well, it isn't selfish. It really is necessary. And here's something important to pay attention to: your energy. What gives you energy? What drains you? Your energy doesn't lie, even when your mind does. If something constantly excites you, well, that's a clue. And if something leaves you depleted, that's information too. If there is one thing I hope, my friends, my dear friends, that you take from today, it's this: getting to know yourself isn't a destination, it is a journey. You don't need to know all the answers today. You just need curiosity, courage, and compassion for yourself along the way. Viktor Frankl, in Man's Search for Meaning, he reminds us everything can be taken from a person, but one thing: the freedom to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances. Even when life feels unfair, that choice to grow, to reflect, to reconnect with yourself, that all still belongs to you. Wherever you are in your journey, you're not behind. my dear friends, you're becoming. I look forward to being with you again. Thank you for choosing growth, even when it's uncomfortable. And until next time, take care of yourself and keep discovering who you were meant to always be. Thank you for listening to this episode of When Life's Unfair podcast. I'm Marianne, and if you would like more information, please visit www.storieswithmarianne.com. I look forward to hearing from you. Till our next episode, I leave you with this Irish proverb. May the road rise to meet you. May the wind always be at your back. May the warm rays of sun fall upon your home. And may the land of a friend always be near.